Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Off the Rack. I'm Sal.
And I'm Tiffany.
We got a lot of show to do today. Of course, this show is normally where we talk about comic books that are coming out and that we have come out. We review them and tell you what we thought about them, and then recommend books that are coming out this week that we think you should check out. In addition to that, occasionally we'll have guests on this show. We have two guests on today's show at different intervals throughout the episode. Ed Brisson is dropping by to chat about Silverhawks. He's launching a brand new initiative for Silverhawks from Dynamite, and we're going to talk about comic books and also just tell you about that book. And maybe you might have been born in a decade that has nothing to do with when Silverhawks came out. And so you're like, what the hell is that? I know there's a vague connection with Thundercats. Only the vaguest, but we'll talk about that probably. But yeah, so Ed Brisson's going to swing by. Also, later on in the program, Jeff Parker is going to swing by to talk about his Zootopia book. So that's pretty exciting as well.
Dope.
In fact, I'd say equally exciting. Both things are pretty exciting.
That's very exciting.
Yeah.
I think it's also exciting. Did we start on time?
Yeah, we did. We actually started a little earlier.
Don't leave me hanging.
Oh, I was like, what is she doing? So you were like, I'm like, are you just holding the longest sneeze on earth?
Nope. I'm holding a soda.
Great.
And I wanted some bones.
Well, there you have it. Here's another extra
Thank
5
you.
for you.
Thank you.
Also, a bunch of big books came out. And after this episode has finished, around 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, following this episode,
Okay.
I'm going to be hosting a live auction with our friends over at Dynamite and Dynamic to see what's available. There's some really fun books, some sketch covers and originals, and you'll have to check them out. It's a lot of fun. Tiffany's not going to be there. It's just going to be me and the good people over at Dynamic Forces. So check that out as well if you're of a mind. That's going to be happening. So just more show. Just never ending.
You're going to stream all night.
Yeah, it's going to be a stream fest, let me tell you.
I'm not. I'm going to go home.
No, you're going to go home. Well, based on the low traffic we're getting today, I'm really looking forward to be streaming for 5 hours today.
It's going to be fine. We're doing it up.
In addition to the books, we also wanted to talk about the fact that we were nominated and actually won a couple of awards from the CBC Awards, and I want to thank them for nominating us and for giving us these awards.
That's right.
And I wanted to thank our audience for voting for us and helping us out. Thank you for representing us in a big bad way.
Appreciate it.
In addition to that, I wanted to make sure that Tiffany got this. This is for you.
This is for me?
Yep.
Wow, this looks fancy.
It does look fancy.
If there is some sort of red ghost
right
or pariah thing in here, I'm leaving.
Mm-hmm.
I'm leaving. Oh, wow! That's not for me. That's for us.
No, it's for you because you make this show possible.
Oh, that's really cool.
Isn't it?
Wait a minute. Oh! I didn't know that. I've not seen this before. I just felt a switch.
Yeah.
Class.
I know.
This is so breakable.
I know, right?
This is so entirely breakable.
So we'll put that on the set. But I wanted you to have it. This is your award
it's
because
really not.
Without you, this show would not exist. Without you, ComicPop wouldn't exist.
Not true.
At the very least, I wanted you to be acknowledged by receiving this award personally because you get so few. You deserve this accolade. This is so entirely earned off of the back of your efforts and your hard work.
No way.
Yes, way.
This is amazing.
It is amazing.
The box is also
I know
cool.
it's very and the box is worth something as well, so that's pretty cool. Now everyone will know that you wore your tie-dye sweatpants.
I did
to the show today.
Listen, this is worth it.
Yeah,
it's worth it for everyone to know I wore my tie-dye sweatpants.
Exactly.
I'm comfy. I'm comfy today.
Yeah. All right. We also won one for back issues. That's already on the set next to the Lantern Battery.
I see it.
Yeah. It's really nice to win an award.
This is amazing.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Thank you to the people who actually got these ordered up and sent out.
That was the CBCs.
Because that's freaking amazing. I know that's really hard to do.
It is hard to do.
It's actually very difficult to do. So I appreciate everything that went into that.
Yeah.
Wow.
He did them fast too. Let me tell you.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
This is actually, but like for real, wow. That's
I
really
know.
cool. That's really cool. Wow.
Right?
I've never had an award.
Well, you have helped win one. So congratulations.
Thanks. You too.
Thanks. We want to mention this show is sponsored by viewers like you. If you're watching the show live, you can sponsor today's show by using Super Chats. Ask a question or comment. We'll read it here on the show. We're going to say that's the end. Also, we're going to pick out our book of the week, the book that stood out the most to each of us. So everybody gets a book of the week, at least everyone who is hosting the show.
Everybody gets a book of the week. You get a book of the week. I get a book of the week.
Yep. I read Tate Brombell and Takashi Miyazawa's Batgirl #1 from DC's All In. This is a, I saw it very popular on social medias, or at the very least, the anticipation for it was very high because it's like a Batgirl book. It's a book starring Cassie and properly, in the suit.
Yeah.
From her debut. We see her lured into a battle with her mother, Lady Shiva. Her mother, Lady Shiva, is embroiled in an assassination attempt on her life, and she brings Batgirl in more or less to help protect her connect her to a larger narrative that will undoubtedly unfold throughout the series lifespan. It's fun. It's certainly the entire issue is one prolonged action sequence, which is pretty in keeping with Cassie's character. She is represented pretty authentically, and while it's been a long time since the kind of like mute or simple linguistics that Cassie is known for, so she speaks in full sentences now like she didn't when she first debuted in this suit. It was still an authentic read that was fun and action-packed. I don't know if I'm the target demographic. I should be, because I remember her and I like Bat-adjacent characters and action.
Okay.
But I don't know if the drama was enough for me. I don't know. It's just there was something about it that was a little less like gripping. It's standard comic book action fare. And if you're looking for just a deviation from, watching Batman do it or Daredevil do it, why not Batgirl?
Yeah.
And it has a direct blood connection, to the whole thing. It's not Batgirl fighting drug dealers. It's Batgirl protecting her mom from what might be certain death, although she is the most dangerous woman in the world. So yeah, it's fun. It's a fun book. I'm not disparaging it. I'm not even really giving it a hard time, but it just, I read it and I went, that was a book I read.
Okay.
I enjoyed it well enough.
That's fair.
There was nothing in particular that was negative about it.
Okay.
It just didn't blow me away.
All right.
How about you?
Didn't blow the doors off today.
It certainly did not.
Really quickly, I read Kid Venom #3. I completely forgot to even mention that this was coming out last week.
Yeah, no, it slipped under the radar.
And I have to tell you, I don't know if the the listing in Comixology means anything. This was really far down.
Yeah.
And I was like, I usually scroll down there just to see, and there it was. This is Kid Venom #3 by Taigami.
Which I think is important to remind people what Kid Venom is, because they might be seeing this cover or hearing about it, because we might be getting some new audience members. What the hell? People might have assumed, you mean Dylan?
No, I do not. I mean, this is
there's another universe.
This is a totally different universe with possible ties to our own, but this is not that universe at all. And in fact, it is obviously very manga inspired, but I will say, it could benefit from just being, here's the book.
Right.
It's only four issues, right? It's only 4 issues.
Here's the segment of the show where Tiffany advocates for more original graphic novels.
I'm sorry. I have a broken record when it comes to this, but I did just last week enjoy one, and I feel like this book in particular could benefit from that. This issue, in particular, 100% got my attention in every way, shape, and form.
Good.
And desperately made me wish that there was more of this, but I have a feeling there never will be more of this, just based on sales. This universe's version of a Doctor Strange shows up.
Okay.
Not the named Doctor Strange by any
means,
but
certainly by character.
Abe no Seimei, which is a name you've probably potentially heard before if you're an anime manga fan. I had to do a little research on this. It was very little, so I apologize. If you want to know more about this, please, of course, go do your own research on it.
Certainly.
But I believe this individual is not necessarily a made up entirely fictional character. It has some ties, and is often attributed to a Merlin-esque character.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? So it was to then use this name to indicate a magical connection with Doctor Strange. Love it. love it, here for it.
Sure.
But yeah, like this is kind of an interesting world, and I really wish that instead of like being beholden to the Western style comics,
Right.
that they had just gone fully in on making this like a manga and let it have the space it needs.
Yeah.
Because it feels like sometimes the Western limitations on page count and real estate, in a sense, is limiting the story.
Yeah.
But there's something kind of interesting about it. Like there's something kind of interesting here. And I can't say like, oh, you have to read this. But like if you ever see it in trade, maybe you might be interested if you're someone who likes anime, if you're someone who likes manga, but also enjoys reading Marvel books or comic books just in general.
Yeah.
Because this is set like in a like fantasy, other time in the past.
Yes.
Japan, essentially. But like a lot of really fun imagery in this too. And it's just, again, I just kind of wish it was like, here it is, and it's a little longer. I think and maybe just make it black and white.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah. That'll certainly make it come out faster.
No, I don't necessarily know if Taigami wanted to try this.
Yeah.
Like was like, yeah, let's see what this is like.
Yeah. But Mattia Iacano's art or color isn't bad.
Yeah. No. It all looks it looks good.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I'm just saying, like, if you needed to limit costs somewhere to make it a little bit
costs,
longer,
it could have just
like,
been.
You could have just made it like a manga and let it go.
And made it smaller.
Of course. But yeah, I just wanted to say, like, I did end up reading this.
Shout out to Kid Venom.
Shout out to Kid Venom, a weird little book
that you've been reading all of.
Yeah, I think there's like one more issue. So I'm like, well, all right, here we go.
I guess you're in it for the long haul.
I'm in it for the long haul.
Yeah. I read Birds of Prey, naturally, from Kelly Thompson and Sammy Basri, doing the art on this one. This is a part 2 of a new arc in which Cassie, of all people, Batgirl, getting some time in the spotlight again after so many years, she's on an infiltration mission. There's some Amazons missing. They have been purchased by a cartel of evildoers. She herself is captured. The Birds of Prey the Birds of Prey, because like the point is that the Birds of Prey can be anybody, like it could be any team, but it will rely on a few staples. Thompson seems to enjoy Black Canary, Barbara, Cassie, Barda. So we're going to keep those characters. But, we can swap in other characters as well.
Sure.
So these characters kind of just waiting for Cassie, and Barda really wants to swing in and rescue Cassie because she sees her as kind of, her little one. And instead they kind of explain to Barda, Cassie's a really competent character. Like if she is in trouble, we have like 2 kind of points where if she doesn't check in, then we go in.
Yeah.
And she hasn't hit those marks yet. So like, let her cook. You know what I mean? Like it undermines her capabilities if you swing to her rescue.
Yes.
Bar's like, fair enough. I would hate it if someone did that to me. Okay. And so the rest of the time, the birds are playing video games and hanging out, which of course is a Tiffany book. Who'd have thought, especially because Tiffany's on the cover of the book. Birds of Prey, good series, very under the radar, I think, unfortunately, only because I think it's such an unassuming. It's a Nightwing. We've got a Nightwing situation on our hands, folks. Another book that is fun and competent and well executed, but also there's no severe melodrama that also sets to upset the complete zeitgeist of any one character.
Right.
And so as a result, people are kind of like, oh yeah, Birds of Prey, I hope I check it out someday. I'm like, listen, there's a lot of sound things I completely understand, especially because like everybody would talk about Ultimates on the internet today, or at the very least this week. Everybody's like, oh my God, did you see what happens in Ultimates? And I'm like, I got some thoughts on what happened in Ultimates. We'll talk about that later. So Birds of Prey, I recommend it.
About that.
Yeah. Also, I am just getting over being sick. I had a cold, which turned into walking pneumonia, so I'll be coughing periodically throughout the show.
It's fine. It's all fun. It's fine. We're all good here now. Thanks. How are you? Just again, another real quick one that I want to just kind of throw in there. I read Something is Killing the Children #0 that just came out this week. Essentially, this is Tynan and Deladra going back and talking about there was a little girl at the beginning of the first issue in the wagon.
I remember that.
The girl in the wagon. We're going to do a little bit more with her. This book has a very, very creepy, uncomfortable conversation between a little girl and a man where I was just like, child is in danger. This child is in danger.
Yeah.
And she's a child.
Right.
And then
we know something's killing them.
Yes. And then like as soon as like you start to recognize that like she realizes it, I'm like, uh-oh.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. It's just Tynan, writing horror well, and Del Edera getting a chance to explore a little bit more, but also specifically use the art pages from the previous issue, like or the first issue. Like literally they're in there again.
I
but
like
like
that.
they're like treated like a little differently. Like they're colored a little differently.
Okay.
Like,
Are they did you check? Are they 1-to-1?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Well, you can tell too, because like he changed a little bit of like what her hair looks like.
Oh no.
No, it looks okay.
But he retconned it.
I don't know. It could just be a certain amount of time afterwards, because we don't know how long it's been since, you know what I mean? Like in between necessarily. So
yeah,
I would show it to you, but for the life of me, I can't. There we go. But for the life of me, I just can't operate technology apparently right now.
Mm-hmm.
But like this is her currently.
Yeah.
Right. Like little short bob. And then inevitably, like when you see like the page, because like I immediately recognized those pages because there was like a moment.
Well, the first issue really stood out.
Like this is it. Like, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, but they kind of yellow it over a little bit. It looks really good.
Yeah.
It's just literally just the pages from
That's
the
cool.
first issue.
Nice.
It's kind of interesting. It was like a fun little idea to go back. I think it's an anniversary issue. I think if we click on this, you'll be able to tell me. Will it tell me?
It's been 5 years.
5 years. There you go.
Yeah.
Wow, 5 years.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah, I thought it was longer. I don't know why.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is I thought like if they'd said it 10 years, I'm like, yeah, that makes sense.
It is up at 10 years. No way.
Yeah, there's only been like 30 issues or so.
No way. What? Really?
Yeah.
I don't
30 plus.
Time is weird.
I know.
But yeah, I just wanted to like shout out that as well, because that was another book that I did not recommend last week. Just missed it in there. But yeah, if you are a fan of Something Is Killing the Children, hope you picked up this 0 issue.
Yeah. Can you believe that DC dissolved Vertigo only to have Jamestown and the Fourth take Something's Killing the Children to Boom?
I know.
And then
I know.
He did I know I say similar, I mean in terms of tone and kind of like this odd, the Nice House on the Lake, which is in of itself a Vertigo book now.
Yeah.
Hey, Boom, do you ever get down on your knees and thank your lucky stars that DC occasionally has completely incompetent people at the helm who just make boneheaded decisions for no good reason whatsoever?
Like Boom went down like a rabbit hole there of like trying to do a whole bunch of.
They were very innovative. They were trying new things. They had good people working
were.
there.
They definitely were. And not all of them had. I mean, like
there's a lot of Boom books.
There were a few of them that I really enjoyed, and others I was like, nah.
Yeah.
But this one, big hit.
Right.
But like, I mean, like obviously, I feel like this is like prime for like a show.
Oh, well, I assume that Something's Killing the Children has been in development hell since 5 years ago.
I think it has. I think I heard something about that at one point.
Yeah.
But also Once and Future should obviously be a show.
Yeah. It came up. I had to shout it out when we talked about Batman Superman World's Finest on back issues this past week.
Did you?
Yeah, because I was talking about how Dr. Immortus shows up, who's an old man, and Dan Mora drew him, and I'm like, well, Dan Mora knows how to draw old people because he drew the grandma in Once and Future.
Yep.
And so yeah.
Thank you for that shout out. Yeah.
Of course. Yeah, no. Yeah. It's a great series that Gillen and you talked about a little bit, did you, at New York Comic Con?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, years ago.
Did he oh yeah, no, but not this year.
No.
You didn't go like, hey, by the way.
No, because I was want to talk about Power Fantasy.
That's true. Yeah, listen, out with the old, in with the new, right? Power Fantasy. That's the new hotness.
Well, I still like that, but like if there's something currently that I'm really enjoying from a creator, I want to make sure I bring that up. Although honestly, I am enjoying Neymar.
According to Chip Zdarsky, pronounced Namor.
Roman. It's my thing now. But when I meant Jason Aaron, I didn't mention that at all.
Oh yeah, that's right. You didn't go like, oh, by the way, Namor's cool.
I forgot. And me, I was just like, well, Conan though.
Yeah.
But Conan.
We should get him on the show and you can talk about Namor. He's come on the show before.
You should do that.
What am I going to tell you?
I don't know.
Yeah, but I like Namor. You love Namor.
No, I like it.
You like that book.
I do like it probably more than you do.
All right.
I've read more of it than
that's
you.
True. Yeah, you've technically read more of it than I have.
So this is a book that I have been hearing about nonstop.
Green Arrow 2024 annual #1, Joshua Williamson and Sean Isaacs and Amunse Nahulpin. This book is ridiculous. Green Arrow annual. Folks, if you love Green Arrow, this is a book you need to have. And it's if you are a Green Arrow fan and you don't have this book in your collection, you can't call yourself a Green Arrow fan. That I am not a Green Arrow fan, and I'm shooting. I'm taking shots right now for this because not only did this book perfectly encapsulate Joshua Williamson's run on Green Arrow and highlight the joviality of the character and the history and the expansive roster of characters that make up the Arrow family. But it also has two significant references that you will need to have a copy of before anybody notices. The first of which is so there's a cute scene. Okay, the book it's set in the future. Green Arrow's older. All the Arrow family have had kids. They're all on the island. They're all hanging out. And Ollie's on babysitting duty, taking care of the kids. The kids are like Robin age. And so they're all like, Uncle Ollie, tell us more about tell us about the time you missed. And there's this fun story that Ollie has about like how he fought this character called the Arsonist. Originally, he was just an arsonist, but then eventually gets throughout Ollie's history, upgrades his armor and becomes more and more like powerful / super villainy.
Okay.
And so he's the guy that Ollie keeps missing.
Okay.
And so we get a chance to look at Ollie's history through the eyes of like this one narrative where Ollie's chasing this one character.
Okay.
And then ultimately Ollie did think that he caught him, but it turns out he was wrong and he had 3 suspects. And thanks to talking to the kids, he realizes, in his older age, who the arsonist truly was, and then goes and takes him down along with all the kids. Cute moment.
He takes down the kids?
He takes the kids with them. So that super fun and cute, but also he talks about like some of the things that happened in his history, and you go through the history of Green Arrow, but some of those things, I mean, Ollie's older in this story.
Sure.
So things that may never have happened yet.
Okay.
He refers to like settling an old feud with a archer who wields purple arrows.
Oh, whoa, okay.
I wonder who that could be, but is also in the book. Might want to check that out. You also get a double page splash, which I will not share because you have to buy it. A double page splash of what Josh has affectionately referred to in our sister show, All Stars, on this channel, like and subscribe, to the Bloodline War.
Okay. Yep.
The Bloodline War is in it, and Isaacs blows it away. It is a double-page splash of Ollie and a handful of the New Bloods, characters invented for Bloodlines, fighting the aliens from Bloodlines. The Bloodline aliens return for revenge, and the New Bloods and Ollie Queen have to fight them. And so, yes, do you see Loose Cannon and Razor Sharp and more? Yeah, they're all there, and they're all just like cutting it up.
So, in other words, are you completely confused while looking at these 2 pages?
I mean, I'm not. I'm like, yay!
But most people.
But
possibly.
I mean, I think people are like, whoa! I think if you have no idea what Bloodlines is, and you read that thing where it says like those damn aliens came back, and there's this spectacular sequence of these crazy aliens attacking Ollie along with some superheroes you've probably never seen in your life before.
That's what I'm saying.
You might go, who are these characters? What's going on? I'm interested. I need an omnibus of Bloodlines.
I like it. What? No one is saying that.
No, that's because they don't know that they want it. I'm telling you, if you want DC, if you want $119 from thousands of fans, put out an omnibus of Bloodlines, you cowards.
I thought you were saying, do you want $119? That's the end of the amount of money
Look,
you get.
that is certainly what you... No, Josh will buy one too. That's $240.
Wow. So worth it.
Yeah. I mean, like, DC has turned away more money for less incentive.
I guess that's true.
I'm just saying, it's dope. So, like, that was fun. And I was, like, happy to see it. Did I get previews of it from text messages earlier on throughout the month? Yeah. But was I excited to see it, A, in color, and B, on the page? Hell yeah. And was it worth buying just for that double page splash? Yeah. But otherwise, it's fun. It's also a fantastic Green Arrow. What if you wanted
to buy it for a different reason? Would that also be okay?
Yeah, if you love Green Arrow and you just wanted to see this like fun button on the whole series, if you wanted to stop reading Green Arrow forever, this could be your last issue and you're good to go. Like, this could be your final issue of Green Arrow. If you are like, I'm done. Like, I feel like I'm just sick of like, I don't want to go through any more emotional torture. You know, it's one of those like perfect endings for a character, which is so rare. And sometimes editorial never lets you do. And so it was nice to see. So definitely,
and obviously you're not definitely trying to bolster the numbers here so that Bloodlines get some sort of resurgence.
Look, if suddenly there was like a social media epidemic on like all these different outlets that said hashtag Bloodlines, and it was just adding DC Comics and saying bring Bloodlines back, or release the omnibus, you cowards, or buy Green Arrow 2024 annual #1 to show how much you need the Bloodline War, because I want to see Josh come back and do the Bloodline War. Now we need a Bloodline War.
Okay.
Because look, Bloodline sucked hardcore. It was horrible, and most of the characters were super dumb. But I don't like the idea of lost media. I have a real problem with lost media and people not taking accountability.
Sure, okay.
And DC published that, and they wanted our money in 1994 or whatever it was, 93, 94. But they wanted our money, and they wanted it so bad they put out like a ton of issues of these friggin' Bloodlines.
Well, it sounds like what you actually need to do is get together all the single issues, a second set of them, so that you can keep.
Because I have mine. Yes, I'll give them to them.
Get like a package of them, right? And somehow mail it off to James Gunn, and maybe James Gunn.
Yeah, I'm sure that
enchanted with the Bloodlines.
The fact is, if James Gunn was reading comics, he is familiar with what Bloodlines is. Like
he has rejected it out of hand.
Yeah, like if James, no, you know what? James Gunn is too old to have been a kid when Bloodlines was happening. Like he didn't read it month to month.
Ouch.
Or
sorry,
week
James.
to week. I'm sorry. I know, because he's not my age. You know what I mean? Like he's not, he's much older than me.
Okay.
So he was not a child.
A child.
A child reading that book. But I was.
And you're like, I need some more Bloodlines. Bring the new Bloods back.
No. No one needs to rebuild the DC universe in cinematic form by returning to Gunfire or bringing back any of those characters. Loose cannon does not need to appear in the Superman 2. Much to the chagrin of Joshua Williamson, who doesn't watch the show, but definitely would be upset to hear that I don't like the idea of Loose Cannon showing up in a new Superman movie.
Okay.
But I digress. It's fun. Check it out.
What do you want to do another one or no?
No, you do it.
I'm just saying because of I was looking at the time. I was trying to appropriately space this out.
Right.
Since you were supposed to have like 6:30.
Yeah, I should have a guest coming in those.
Yeah. So I thought we were gonna continue talking about
Bloodlines. You want to keep talking about Bloodlines? All right.
I don't, but I will.
Yeah, that's fair.
Who is your favorite Bloodline character?
It's Razor Sharp.
Okay.
She's super fun. She's a hacker.
Are all the Bloodlines characters like descriptions or like adjective nouns?
First of all, they're called the New Bloods.
Sorry.
I'll pull up a list for you. These characters. There's Anima.
Okay.
Remember Anima? We did her first issue on our other show, The Good, Bad, the Ugly, here on this channel. Argus, Ballistic, Cardinal Sin. Channel Man does not count. He was a member of the Cyber Rats along with Razor Sharp. But Edge, he made sharp edges out of his body and fired them at people.
How is that different than what does Razor Sharp do?
Razor Sharp can turn her arms into T-1000 blades.
Oh, so she just can't throw them like he can.
Yeah.
Like he's like ranged and she's like a melee character.
Right. Yeah. That's right. Geist.
This list is too long.
Yeah, no, they made a lot of characters. Hook, Jam, Joe Public, Crag, Layla. Don't forget Hitman, created by Garth Ennis, who actually was the only member of the New Bloods to make it out.
He survived because he's like, I'm not part of this.
But he was.
No.
Tommy Monahan was bit by one of those stupid aliens.
Like,
and then got his own book. And it was just because Garth Ennis was like, I'm writing this. And I'm going to ignore the alien thing wholesale. No. He was writing the Demon at the time, and that's where Hitman showed up.
Right. I just feel like this list is too freaking long, and it's just like a desperate, like, just whatever, do it all, just any of them.
Yeah,
it sucks.
Yeah.
Oh, there she is.
Yep. I don't know in what.
Excuse me. She has like Wolverine claws.
Yeah, I don't know what version of this that looks like a New 52 version of Razor Sharp. Razor Sharp does not look like that. Prism, however, definitely looks like that.
Okay.
So yeah, no, trust me.
Okay. I love this.
I know.
I love this for us.
Thank you.
So much.
Right? It's pretty sweet.
Well, we talked about Bloodlines more than any people should ever.
Yeah, that's true. We've certainly talked about it more than anyone on Earth, except for ourselves. You know, like I did a whole episode of back issues on it, so I think we're good.
Should I make my way?
I guess so. You can make your way.
Making my way over there.
But thank you for joining me for this segment. We'll be back in a minute.
I'm gonna put this over here. I don't know where to put this.
Just put it up there.
Doesn't make noise.
Okay. Bye. Thanks for being here.
I'll be back.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't worry. It's gonna happen. But yeah. Sorry about the Bloodlines tangent, but we were trying to make sure that we could get our special guest popping in shortly. In addition to that, we'll be talking about more books coming up: Batman 154, Avengers, Aliens, X-Force 5, which sounds almost like Fox Force 5, which I'm actually kind of delighted by. But yeah, so we'll get that started in just a minute. This is the fun parts of live YouTubing, folks. But hashtag more Bloodlines tangents. But yeah, I guess I could bring Tiffany back for a minute. Oh, nope, we got an email. Nope, that's not it. Did I know that Darren Aronofsky wrote comic books? Yes, I did know that. Oh yeah, I did read the finale of Zeb Wells' Amazing Spider-Man, but we're not going to promote that. In the rebroadcast, this will be cut. Here we go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank our first, but by no means less exciting, Ed Brisson. Welcome to the show, man.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going good, man. How about you?
Not too bad. Not too bad.
Excellent. So we could do a whole half hour, but we won't. I'm going to spare you your time just to talk specifically because this is the first time you've been on the show, and I want to thank you for taking some time to talk with us about your career, but more specifically about what's coming out, because I think it's super important to get the word out about this book that is coming from Dynamite. That I think there's a segment of the audience that has been waiting for anything regarding this property at all, and some folk who are probably like, I don't know what that is. So, but yeah, why don't you tell the folks what's coming from you from the next what we're talking about today?
I'm assuming we were talking about Silverhawks.
Silverhawks. Yeah. That's right.
Yes. All right. Silverhawks is like it was one of my favorite shows as a kid. It was, for fans of Thundercats, it was kind of like the sister show, I guess. It was another Rankin Bass show that kind of like hoped to cash in on this success of Thundercats.
Yes,
it only lasted a season, I think, back in the day, which back then a season was 65 episodes. So that's
it only lasted longer than most animated shows have ever gotten in their entire lives. It's true.
So that's on par, I think, with about 8 seasons of any other TV show right now. And this is the first time that we've had a Silverhawks comic in, I did the math the other day, I think it was 37 years.
Wow.
So nearly 4 decades since there's been a Silverhawks comic.
Yeah, almost since there was a cartoon show.
Exactly. I'm very excited about it. I'm a huge fan of Silverhawks. As soon as Dynamite launched the Thundercats, even before it launched, when I knew it was happening,
right?
I kind of had been pestering Declan and then later Nate to let me do a Silverhawks book because, yes, big fan. Very excited that we're finally doing it. Very excited to have George Cambadias along on art. I've been a fan of his for a while, and he's doing some incredible work. Obviously, we've got like a murderer's row of incredible variant artists as well that I'm excited about. And, just excited all around. Very excited.
It's very exciting. Could you give us a little bit of like an elevator pitch for what exactly the Silverhawks is? Because as much as I vaguely recall the cartoon show in its like, you know, in its execution, I would love like a refresher course on exactly like what's, you know, what the footing is for this universe.
Yeah, fun. Sorry, the Silverhawks were sort of, they're like space RoboCops in a way, like this,
Yes.
like, you know, with wings. There's an evil threat across the galaxy. They're in this galaxy, the galaxy Limbo, in the year 2870. Oh my God, circa 2870.
We won't hold you to it.
Get me off the hook. There's a villain named Monstar who is basically an intergalactic mobster. He's got his own crime cartel that sort of wreaking havoc all across Limbo, and he had been in prison. Monstar had been in prison once for about 100 and some odd years, and he breaks out and he's causing havoc across the galaxy. And the Silverhawks in the cartoon are sort of the response to it. They're sent to Limbo from Earth. I think the initial idea in the cartoon is that they were partly metal, partly real, so that they could withstand the 100,000 light years of travel, or 1,000 light years of travel. And as you can tell, numbers not always my strong suit. So that was essentially the premise. They were this sort of elite team of
like space cops,
kind of like space cops out there to take down this mobster. We've been approaching it with sort of that same thought in mind. We are like sort of very short pitch is that it's untouchables in space.
Yeah,
we are. Thanks. And so we're going to do it will be sort of like a little bit procedural, you know, a little bit of the action. We're trying to keep that sort of same feel of the old Silverhawks. Cartoon will want to expand on it as well. Like with the Silverhawks, you're kind of, the first episode is the origin episode where you get a little bit about each character, but we never get to see sort of their lives before that. So we're starting with the comic. We're starting a little bit before.
Cool.
And we'll show the assembly of the team over a few issues. And then before we really kick them into action, so that we really get a chance to spend some time with each character, learn who each character is, what they're about, and hopefully, you know, that will help endear them to readers, both old and new.
Sure. Is there any particular? Yeah, I guess when you say untouchables in space, we're going for kind of like some grit. We're taking almost like, because I'm thinking about your previous work, like with Old Man Logan and stuff, and I'm like, oh man, like are we gonna get like this kind of like really grizzled, kind of like down to earth space fantasy?
I think there'll be a little bit of that. Like it's always hard because when you say like gritty, like if you try to
you don't want to go
gritty, you get this idea that it's like really depressing and stuff, and the book is definitely not going to be that. But there is a little bit more, like everything's going to be a bit more, like there's going to be a bit of grounding to in terms of that. Just we're doing a lot of character work as well as doing these sort of high flying action sequences, so we're not losing that thing that people loved about the Silverhawks. We're just kind of like, again, taking our moments with the characters and sort of grounding them and making them feel real, just so that we can, I think that the more real the characters feel, the more we can sort of really relate to them, then the more impact all the stories are going to have. But we're still going to have crazy Monstar doing like insane galactic, you know, villainous stuff, but you know, there will be some very real sort of character motivations behind the Silverhawks.
We have a release date in mind and an FOC that we can like make sure if people want to jump on before the book comes out?
Oh, I wish I knew the FOC off the top of my head.
Is that kind of show where we actually do try to advertise like the pre-order for it? Because I know that
it is
trying to steal them.
It's coming out at the end of January of 2025. And I'm talking very slowly so that I can see if I can't just quickly
Google
what the FOC date is. Usually it's a month before, so we're January 29th is what it's saying. So my guess would be
according to Nick, it is January 4th.
Okay, the FOC.
Yeah.
Perfect. Look at that.
Boom.
Problem solved.
Yes. So that means, folks at home, FOC final order cutoff. So like you have until January 4th to pre-order the first issue of Silverhawks from Dynamite. So if you want to check out Silverhawks and you want to help, juice the numbers a little bit, then pre-order the book that way. But otherwise, the book will drop.
I don't think there's any if there. I think people want to check it out.
I mean, easily. Yeah. No.
And also, I guess keep in mind that with the Christmas holidays, get your pre-orders in early, even better.
Yeah, that's true. Well, Ed, I want to thank you so much for being here and helping us kind of get an idea about like what to expect from Silverhawks. Oh, are you going at this like kind of issue to issue, or will there be an overarching kind of story, or are they going to be kind of like self-contained adventures, kind of like the show itself?
So we're kind of doing a little bit of both. Each issue is definitely going to have like each issue. The first issue is kind of the one that has like it's got several different things happening.
Sure.
But then as issue 2, 3, 4, and onward, there's going to be like this kind of main thing that's happening, like the main sort of adventure, I guess. But then we'll also have through lines that will be continuing throughout the series.
Gotcha.
You've got your A, B, and C plots
and
all that sort of fancy stuff.
Naturally. Well, Ed, I want to thank you so much for being here. I told you it wasn't going to be too long, so I didn't want to waste too much of your time.
That's great.
But, listen.
No, not a waste at all.
Thank you for selling us some Silverhawks. I would love to have you back on to talk Silverhawks, but also to talk more because, of course, like I'm a fan of your Ghost Rider, your Predator.
I love it.
Friggin' my wife is a huge Rat Queens fan. And,
okay.
So there's so much more to chat about. But for now, folks, check out Silverhawks dropping in January, FOC January 4th. But otherwise, Ed, what else is going on from you that people can look forward to checking out?
Well, actually, really quickly, FOCs today, if people are watching this live, for Apex, Thundercats Apex, which is coming out through Dynamite as well, which is where we start to peel back the mystery about who Apex is and what he's after and what his relationship is with the Thundercats. And beyond that, I have a Creep Show story that I did that's coming out sometime in December, I believe, January. I don't know. And then some other announcements on the way. So keep your ears peeled.
Awesome. Will do, man. Well, thank you so much for being here, and we'll see you guys next time. Thanks, Ed, for coming by.
Thanks
Appreciate it, man. Of course.
Have a good one.
You too, man. Bye. There you have it. Ed Brisson, everybody, swinging by the show to talk Silverhawks. And again, next time, what I'm thinking is when we have more special guests on Off the Rack, I'll try to prepare for those a little ahead of time and get maybe a couple of Patreon questions so that we can make sure that we can really jump on that and engage with you, the audience out there who are watching. But from now, let's jump back into the show and talk more about comics that came out this past week that we're excited about. I suppose I could start with Ultimates. Yeah, I'll talk about Ultimates. Welcome back.
Hi, I'm here.
Dennis Camp and Juan Frigeri did the Ultimates number 6. This is a book that I'm hearing a lot of chatter about. People are very excited to talk about. Essentially, we're having the rubber hit the road with the Ultimates. The Ultimates have been building for the last 5 issues. We're getting to this team. We're getting to understand these characters. We're seeing them kind of their struggles and really the hard time they went through in order to unite as a team. And then they go to what they believe is, I think it's a liberation mission, and they end up getting teleported instead to the Hulk's stronghold, and they all get their asses kicked. It's just a pasting. Just a complete spanking of this team, and watches most of them are irreparably damaged to the point where you introduce all these characters, and now She-Hulk has one hand now, and Iron Lad may be dead, and a lot of real screw ups here. Just showing this is a hard book, or this is there's a hard universe, it's a hard world, and just because they're superheroes doesn't mean they win or succeed. Just because they have a plucky attitude doesn't mean that they're going to win the day. It's funny because I saw a lot of people talking about this and taking panels out of context, but in a very complimentary way. And people were like, look at this, look at how cool this is dope. The Hulk is an Iron Fist. The Hulk has a team of Hulks that take a thing and then become hulked out, but not in your conventional Hulk way, in their own unique way, you know, like, and they're all kind of in this perverted version of, you know, Taoist or monk-like pursuits. You know, we're seeing these like supposed pacifists like eat people and, you know, punch someone with what they call the like 17 Hiroshimas. And that's where I'm like, this is dumb. This is a dumb comic book. Like, this is super dumb. And I'm not like mincing words here. Like, I'm really like planting my flag about this book.
Okay.
Like, this book is fun, and you could tell that Camp has a lot to say, and he does a nice job saying it. But when the rubber meets the road, and I don't mean to use that word too much, it's kind of dumb.
Okay.
And I don't know if I'm the audience for it. And because I think it wants to talk about the world, but it doesn't have enough room to do what Hickman's setting up, you know, because Hickman's like, there's this threat of like Hickman coming back to this universe.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, you know, if you want to see the world of the Ultimate of Earth 6160, the Ultimates is pretty much it.
Right.
Like, nothing that happens in this book affects Ultimate Spider-Man or Black Panther or X-Men. So if you want to see like what's going on with the Ultimate or with the Ultimate Universe, is the book.
Right.
And like, it makes a lot of sense. And it doesn't contradict the world that we're seeing in those other books, as we talked about in the last episode. But sometimes the book just gets kind of dumb. Like the self, like, you know, like the contradictory nature of, you know, like the Hulk's taking over Kunlun and making it into this kind of like contradictory world of like a character that's, you know, supposedly Buddhist, but also will kill you and kick your ass. And like, it's, you know, it's just, for me, like the measuring of punches by how many Hiroshimas there are is super stupid. And I understand it might actually be like a reference to something else, but like, that doesn't mean you should use it.
Yeah.
It's just super stupid. The fights are fine, and there's actually like kind of like an FU to Jeff Loeb in this issue where like a Blob-esque character eats Wasp, and then she aliens him. And I'm like, all right. And I'll be honest, like, I read these issues. I don't remember when the hell half these characters showed up. Like, I don't remember Wasp actually joining the team. Like, I don't know. It's just, there's a lot of like weird stuff in there where I'm like, I don't even remember half of these things being set up. Like, I don't know. It's just meh. You know, it's a weird book that when it hits a lot of people hard. And when it doesn't, those people don't talk about it.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I haven't heard any negative criticism of this book at all. Ever.
Interesting.
Which kind of blows my mind.
Right.
And I'm not like trying to be a devil's advocate here. I'm just kind of like,
you're not like, in the absence of this, it must exist.
No, I'm just kind of like, I read this and I was like, this is kind of stupid, isn't it? And the audience was like, no, it isn't. And I'm like, oh, okay. Because I really thought it was kind of stupid. Like, maybe you're stupid. I'm like, oh yeah, maybe. I'm done in this world, like in the tail end of 2024 and going on for the rest of my life. Like, I'm done arguing.
Fair.
And fighting with people who disagree with me at this point. Like, I don't care if you don't like that. I just, okay.
That's fair.
I think it's pretty, I think it's kind of dumb.
Not for you.
Moving on.
Very fair. Is it me now?
Yeah.
Let's talk about FML number 1.
Yeah. Let's do that.
I could not think of a better way to like transition into that. I was like,
No.
I'm gonna go there next.
Right?
Seems apropos. This is written by Kelly Sudaconic, with art by David Lopez.
Yay.
Yeah. So this is put out by Dark Horse. Obviously, I picked it up because it was like there's mention of magic or whatever, and I was like, let me give it a shot. You know, the cover looks kind of fun. Here's the thing about this book. It's fun. I had a good time with it.
Yeah.
And it's like it's not a book for everyone. It definitely has like not quite an all ages feel, but like an attempt at a younger feel. It's giving Scott Pilgrim without trying to be Scott Pilgrim.
Interesting,
You know
because
what
the
I mean?
cover is giving Paper Girls.
Oh, sure. And maybe it's a little bit of that too, but like moments like
Yeah,
this,
but
like,
I see.
but it's not Scott Pilgrim. It's not like it's acting like
No, it's not just like aping off of Scott
it
Pilgrim.
is not
It's like,
aping
oh,
off.
okay.
It's not doing anything quite like that.
Uh-huh.
It just gives me that sort of vibe. Like if you like that, maybe you would enjoy this.
Right,
You know what I
right.
mean? But you know how like in Batman, Absolute Batman, and what are we calling it? Abbat?
Oh no, I just said it the other day. Absolute Batman is fine.
But
I guess Abbat, yeah, you could call it that.
How Scott was like, what's the scariest thing for a kid?
Mm.
Right. And like that's kind of like this addresses it in a way where it's like you see this reflection of like the like classroom for students in terms of like what they're talking about, what kind of projects they're talking about, like drills and all that stuff. And it's like, like I do work in an educational field. And like you do, like, yeah, there are drills and like different schools handle things differently and other side and throughout everywhere.
Yep.
But like it's a fact of our lives, unfortunately. And like we have that in here. But again, it's like setting up like we have the perspective of like these kids, but like obviously the world in which they live in, like mom's there and like the mom of like the seemingly main protagonist like used to be a rocker and like stuff like that, and like he also has a band, so that's probably also why I'm giving Scott Pilgrim vibes from it.
Sure.
But like
it's a pretty popular cultural touchstone. It makes sense to use it as kind of like visual language.
Yeah.
Or at least like to invoke it, or certainly just to rely on it, where it's like, hey, you know what? It's not like this book is like, look, I'm going to make references to Scott Pilgrim. It's more like if Scott Pilgrim can do it, then it's open seat. Then we can do it.
Right. But like, it's not like they don't like have like, references and it's not like, it's like a fourth wall breaking style book. No. It just has that like energy.
Yes. There you go.
Like it has that energy that like there's like, interesting quirky characters. Everybody knows each other. The world feels very lived in. We use like style breakups here or there.
Yeah.
But like this just takes place, I believe, in I want to say Seattle, I think. And like it's remember last year they had all the California fires? Yeah. I mean, like we're living it right now here in Jersey. Yeah. But like for them, it was like the sky was orange. People had to wear like face coverings outside because the air was like toxic. And so like we're seeing some of that here. We're seeing like
we had that when Canada was on fire.
Oh, for sure. But we didn't have it every day. No. Like they did, for sure. But we see that reflection here. It's just like, wow, look what all these kids have to deal with, right? And like so they're just trying to find their semblance of normalcy, but they're also not like
oh, the war's got they're not thinking about it, talking about it all the time. It's just a part of their lives.
It's a part of their lives, right? And but they have this band, and obviously they want to be rockers and all that stuff, and they go out to this like old abandoned bathroom in the woods where it's like like from like Monday through Friday or Thursday they basically get to have the run of the place, and then on the weekend sometimes people come and party there and stuff like that, right? And like they do a magic spell and like something happens at the end, right? And I'm like, all right, this is fun and it's cute and it's I don't know, like I had a good time reading it. Yeah, like it's a different energy, right? It's a little more like webtoons meets comics, which is funny to say, but you know what I mean? Like, I do. Kelly Sue DeConnick is not a webtoons writer.
No, but she's channeling that kind of.
But she's channeling that like that energy, like I said, like it's that energy, it's that excitement, it's that like the art itself. Like David Lopez is doing really great work. Bouncing between styles and just everyone has a very distinct look to them. And the world itself, like I said, is really well developed. And like, it's just energetic. It's just a very energetic looking book. Yeah. You can show that. I am. Oh, you are. But as you can see, like some of the style changes and such throughout there. And like the protagonist's like sister dresses in like Lolita, you know what I mean? Like it's interesting. So like I don't know, I enjoyed it, and I think I'll probably pick up another one, or if nothing else, like I will maybe ask to have like the trade put on like reserve. I don't know, we'll see. But like I enjoyed it. I wasn't sure what to get out of it. But as I kind of got comfortable in the world, I was like, this is kind of fun. Yeah, but like it's quirky and it's energetic.
Nice.
Well, you want me to do another one, or do you want to do AVA?
No, okay, yeah, we'll talk about Avengers
We'll
versus
do one
Aliens.
together.
Aliens, Avengers, Jonathan Hickman, Assad Ribic. This is, of course, the second of the penultimate issue of the Avengers Aliens
I guess
crossover.
it makes sense where we're entering into this like story. You know, it's like there's only so much
you could say or do with this.
Yeah.
I guess. I don't know. I think it's more like, well, Ribic's painting it, so it's gonna need time, or we need to wrap it up.
I guess.
Like, you know, like Helen and Windhorn is only 6 issues. Like the book's almost over. It's like because Bilky can't stay. We gotta wrap it up.
I mean, sometimes it's also just that's the story.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Hey, someone says 4 issues, not 3.
Okay. Well, the Hickman is on full Hickman on this. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. So obviously, if you're gonna go with the engineers and the Prometheus angle,
Yeah.
you're going to lose me completely. But because this is such an unprecedented thing, and because I want to see more, certainly more exciting versions of this concept, I am going to just try and grin and bear it, because like Prometheus is a beautiful looking movie, even if it does completely destroy and undermine the Alien franchise. And this book literally embraces it with open arms.
I mean,
to the point where like David is a character in this book.
I don't know why you thought for a minute Jonathan Hickman,
right, wasn't going to use every single corner of the universe,
or like want to get into the mythos of it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know why you wouldn't think that. He wrote the book Gods.
Yeah.
For Orville.
No, it's true.
You know, like deep dive into mythology and all of that. So I just feel like, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah. So yeah, it's but you know, Ribic's art is fantastic as expected. We get a couple of like spectacular sequences. For the most part, the book is about the Avengers, or rather Stark, deciding that we need to leave. It's done. We're Earth's for naught. We got to go. That's the plot of the book. But the beginning of the book is setting up like, how are aliens here? Why are they here? How does this work? And like, I love Hickman kind of going like, I'm not going to not answer that question. Every crossover is like, who cares? What doesn't matter? We just want to see Superman and Hulk fight. You know, and when I'm doing a crossover, I just want to see the characters show up and then do stuff. Hickman's like, but why? Like, why would they be here? So the beginning of the book is in the Alien universe.
Yeah.
And essentially presupposes the concept that like like David and a bunch of, I guess, multiversal Davids, or are they just other David counterparts?
I don't know. Didn't that happen in one of the movies though? Like literally,
he has one other David. He doesn't have like. There's a sequence in it.
I
where,
meant like the sequence of
David
like
killing all the engineers.
Yeah.
Was Alien Covenant.
Yeah.
But he was just by himself.
Oh right.
In this
so
one,
I
it's
guess
like
it's a different universe.
There's a different universe where it's just like Prometheus and Alien Covenant, but David has like other Davids, like a bunch of other
maybe
androids.
He made other versions of
or he
himself.
found them and then reprogrammed them, or they all came to the same epiphany he did. Who knows? But it's a contingent of Davids who have decided, okay, we've killed everyone. Like, we succeeded. In our reality of the Alien universe, we killed everybody and there's no more Ripley. So we're going to go into the multiverse and do the same thing.
Well, you better hope that Thanos doesn't show up.
Well, I'm sure he'll kill him in a spectacularly hilarious way, the same way he did in Secret Wars. But so then that's how they come here, is that they come here and then they just, release the Xenos.
Yeah.
And so that's what they're doing here. And and Hickman also just can't help himself. He's like, Stark and Rogers. Rogers is an idiot. Rogers is a pathetic loser who just hopes so hard, and what it'll get him is dead. And Stark is right.
I don't agree. That is you putting that on that book. I disagree with that.
Well, because Hickman always has to say that like everyone is stupid and that everything should be run by like a small group of smart guys over there.
I don't agree with that.
Okay.
I just don't.
I know.
I just don't agree with
that's
that.
fair.
I took that moment of like, it's like, yeah, like Tony knew Steve was out there.
Yeah, it's sad. He's just he doesn't look happy about it.
And like, and it's not that like Steve hoped so hard. It's just that Steve is like, what is the point
Yeah.
of moving on
If we don't
can't-
bring people with us.
Yeah, if we don't save everyone we quit.
The point is that Stark makes the tower. The tower is a spaceship that's going to leave.
Right.
They built a city around it. He's like, we got to go. Everyone who's in the ship right now, it's just literally Secret Wars. Get in the Ark. A handful of characters are going to get in the Ark. Are going to leave. And at that same exact time, Steve is coming, Captain America, with like some non-infected people.
Yep.
And he's like, we already set the launch. It's too late. And so Banner feels guilty and he leaves to help Cap.
Yep.
And so Stark and Spider-Man and Carol and characters like leave.
Yep.
And Hulk and Captain America and the rest of humanity die on Earth.
Presumably.
Or maybe they won't. Who knows? But yeah, it's very like bleak, which is exactly what an alien book / movie should be.
100%.
And yeah, that's great.
It should be very dark.
Exactly.
Very, very like, well, and not even the entire time. You have to have moments of levity.
Oh yeah, and there are.
Or at least, not this.
Yeah, but it's cool.
They all have that, right?
Exactly. But it's dope. I enjoyed it. I'm like, this is a good comic book. This is well executed.
Yeah.
You are using blasphemous mythology, but I still am enjoying the experience because I know that what I'm reading is good.
Right.
But yeah, it was a really good comic. It was really cool. Like watching Cap like fight against all odds to try and bring the last vestige of humanity to salvation, only to watch it fly away from them is like really freaking heartbreaking.
It is.
I do think Hickman thinks that Cap is a sucker.
Maybe.
Like I think that he's just a good writer. So he's like, no, every time that Cap loses or is wrong, it's disappointing. Like,
maybe
it's sad.
Maybe he doesn't think that he's a loser.
No,
maybe
I said a sucker.
A sucker. Maybe it's not that he thinks that he's a sucker. Maybe it's that he feels that his most poignant or the greatest gift he can give
is to die.
Is to give the gift of that hope to others.
Yeah.
Guilt.
Yeah.
Because there's no way Tony's not like.
Well, because I think that like
am
Hickman.
I the bad guy here?
Oh, I think Stark knows he is a bad guy.
Or not a bad guy. I'm like practical, pragmatic.
Yeah. But also there's a great like. Okay, it's a fantastic sequence. The Davids send Davids throughout the multiverse, and the idea is that the Davids create Weyland-Yutani, and then they like, you know what I mean? So it's like that's how there's a Weyland Corporation in the Marvel universe.
Yeah,
is that David created it, and they're taking over. Like there's a flashback.
Okay, so let's talk about that.
Because he is.
That seems silly.
Why?
Like why? Because
he's Weyland's son.
No, I understand that, but like if your end goal is to just destroy all the planets,
right?
Why are we going through all this?
Right. I assume he's building, like, I don't know.
We'll have to see, but like I'm just saying, Hickman.
Yeah,
that didn't make any sense to me. I was like, well, then why are we doing any of this?
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, I gave you a warning. It's gonna take us like 16 years, and then no, is it 16 years? I don't know.
Yeah, I think it was.
But and then like another 20 that their guess was that's how long you'd have to survive.
Exactly.
But overall, like Assad Ribic was born to draw this.
Oh yeah. Well, no, I'm so glad that he was brought in to do this. Yeah. So awesome.
So great.
But yeah, AVA, I recommend it. But before we move on, we have to chat with yet another amazing special guest for today's episode, and that is Mr. Jeff Parker. Jeff, welcome to the show, man.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going good, man. How about you?
Great. I was just working on a car, and and I was like, oh no, there's like 5 minutes and this thing starts.
Oh, that's okay.
So I ran down from the garage.
I appreciate it, man. Okay, I got to ask, what kind of car are you working on?
It was my daughter's. It's an old Volvo 240.
Ooh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's like you can still get a lot of parts around here because of a company. So I'm in Portland. So I'm trying to get the thing so she can, do road trips, stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I was going to say, oh, that's interesting because, but no, it hasn't. I don't like that transition.
It connects very much to Zootopia if you think
I was going to say, yeah, I was going to try to do it. And I'm like, such a clunk. That's my reference. It's such a.
I want to try to set you up with tough segues and see what you come up with.
Yeah. Off the top of my head, not so much. But you're right in Zootopia, man. This is the only. After the D23 reaction, obviously there's going to be a Zootopia too. But outside of that, no other Zootopia stuff. This
I know
this
it's
is it.
weird, right? It was
It
such
is
a
weird.
popular movie, and everybody's been waiting forever for something to happen.
Yeah, some people have like made completely some complete careers just by being obsessed with characters from it.
Yeah,
But and yet it's only been now that anyone's thought, let's make something out of that. So you're writing the Zootopia comic from Dynamite.
yeah, it's a blast. Alessandro Rinaldi is drawing it. He did the Hades special.
Yep.
He's got this huge job of having to replicate what it took hundreds of artists to do in the movie.
Yeah, that's true.
But he's nailing it. I mean, when he gets the expressions, like I never have to ask, like, oh, can they be doing more? He gets it so right every time. It's perfect. It's acting, and look at those look at those covers. That's amazing.
Seriously. No, it's understanding because these characters are so expressive, and understanding like that kind of like facial expression and demonstrating emotion and all that. I mean, obviously that's the Herculean effort of all comic book artists and animators in that respect. But yeah, nailing that is like paramount to getting this right. But also understanding the characters and executing them consistently, which is your job, must also be a challenge.
Fortunately, I watched the movie about 70 times. So
now, was that because you were a fan, or because anyone in your family was like, I'm obsessed with this movie, and you ended up having to watch it as well?
It was when the weekend it came out, I was in North Carolina at a free comic book day event in Greenville. And it was me and artist Sandy Gerald, and our sons, the Super Sons, went next door to the theater, and Zootopia was showing. And my son came back and said, "This was great. You got to see it." And I went, "Well, now I can't because we've got to go do this next thing because we were on a road trip."
Right.
And but as soon as we got back home, we bought the movie, and I was just blown away. I was like, "This is so good." I think it's one of the best things Disney has done in decades.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least it's like, I mean, they've done a lot of good stuff, but
they've done a lot of good stuff, but
it's the thing that appealed to me.
That's fair. Where/when is this set?
Almost immediately after the final scene of the movie. Like it could be literally the next week. We pick up with, Nick has gone through training. He's now a junior officer and partner to Judy. And they're just, getting yelled at by Chief Bogo and told to go out and fight crime, so
yeah,
that's what they do.
Absolutely. Are there any characters that, because like Zootopia like hit you with like over a dozen really fun characters that are, some of them have something to do with the plot, others have almost nothing to do with the plot. Are there any that really stood out to you that you're like, I got to make sure I get this character in there? Like,
well, you had to have Clawhauser in there because, I mean, he's working the front desk. You can't get anything by him. He's a part of every story. You had a brief appearance by Yax from the nudist colony.
Nice.
So that comes up in issue 1, and I'm trying to remember. It seems like we've already got some more in there, but now I'm forgetting. Like I didn't want to just do callbacks the whole time.
Right, of course.
Because you only have like, you got one issue to tell your story, and it's like, well, let's hit the ground running, introduce some new characters, and see how they work together as a team when they're an official team.
Yeah. This it reminds me because you have this fun, like, this is a genre that Disney has kind of pioneered or engineered. I'm thinking of like Tangled / Zootopia in terms of like, this is a fun movie that appeals to all ages, but in a genuine way, and not just in a like kind of this is mostly for kids, but here are a couple of jokes for the grown-ups as well.
Yeah, that's what I keep saying to people. It's like, it's not one of those, I'm going to poop on DreamWorks, but like it's not like one of those things where you've got a bunch of people who are good at writing one-liners and they're just pulling off, just little funny bits, and it's like, it's entertaining and you got your money's worth or whatever. But Zootopia has some big ideas going on behind it.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of couched in, you're focused on Judy's story of trying to make it in the big city and be the first little bunny cop and all that sort of thing. But when you break down what's happening, it's like there's actually some really kind of heavy material, and it's impressive the way they sort of float it by without you thinking about it too hard, you know.
Yeah, and I think that it also is an opportunity, I think, for you as a writer to be like, that's great, because now you can have an easy transition into kind of telling the story that is kind of like for not a more mature audience, but like a similarly mature audience, where you don't have to like, grizzle it up, nor do you have to kidify it. It's just you could just like seamlessly go from there to there. I guess that makes sense as to why it's like only like a few days after the events of the first movie. It's like seamless transition.
Yeah, like a few days earlier, some people, the mayor was trying to kill him.
Right.
So it's like and I want to keep that sort of sense of danger up. It's like you say, you don't have to make it gritty, but there's stakes throughout. So that's good. And for some reason, that just makes bigger laughs. I feel like the tension plays off and it makes the funny parts funnier.
Right. Absolutely. And the juxtaposition of these characters, like,
the world's very grounded. Like, they're pretty clear. They lay out this whole world of mammals, and there's certain kinds of mammals, and there's some you never see, so I had to pay attention to that.
Oh yeah. Now, did you have freedom to execute those other types of animals, or were there kind of like restrictions with like, you can't talk?
I tried to, because I knew it would be a hassle if I just had to keep making people go back and forth to approve things. I tried to stick with animals that I could see at least in the background of the movie.
Got it. Yeah, that makes sense.
Because I've not my first rodeo.
Yeah, no, you've worked on a number of
these things can go. These can really turn into a little war you weren't looking for or something like that. But they've been cool. They've actually been really cool with all the. And I feel like they asked me to change one or two not super important characters, and it wasn't a big deal.
Mm-hmm. Was it the animal that you based them off of, or was it like change them in terms of like you have to?
I feel like now I'm trying to remember, because we started this a while back. Like it's been in the works for a while. They wanted to make sure it's done right and everybody feels like this is a good representation of Zootopia.
Yeah.
So now I'm trying to remember it's because lately it's been all roses. I can't remember anybody telling me to do anything, but
yeah. I have to assume that this is like, thanks to your experience. I mean, I remember when you did Future Quest, where it's like, here's all these different characters that are from other aspects of franchises under one banner. I can imagine that was probably a little bit of a I would call it like a tightrope to walk. When it comes to like,
it wasn't as hard, at least for me, just because I grew up watching all of those cartoons.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't that hard to rectify them all into one. The only ones that were a bit of a, I had to spend a little time trying to fit in were the Impossibles, and actually that was pretty easy too. Because they were more from this Jetsons style little comedy cartoons, very shorts, where for some reason they all played guitar. It's like, you can't have this. No one ever wants to draw a drum kit.
No. Yeah, it's one of those official, please don't make me draw those bicycles, drum kits, horses.
But yeah, the interesting thing there was, like, again, to get the tone right, everybody had to move toward Johnny Quest's tone, because Johnny has the real world adventure. People get killed in his cartoon.
Yeah.
So they did in Space Ghost, and they did in the Herculoids too. It's like it, and back then too. I don't want to leave out the fact that at the planning stage, I had the amazing help of Darwin Cook. He was initially connected to it before his health went bad, and it was so fun. I got to spitball ideas with him, and I got to see that. Well, the thing that was exciting to me was, like, I met him at Baltimore at Comic-Con, It's a great
Great
Comic Con
show.
if you've never been.
No, I go
And,
every year. I
Yeah, it's really
I
good,
didn't-
isn't it?
Yeah, I didn't get a chance. I remember passing Darwin Cook's booth, and he was engaged in a conversation with one person, and I was like, I'll get him next time.
Yeah, and there's always and he always had long lines too. Like
Yeah.
everybody had a big absolute edition they were going to make him sign.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Or the Martini Parker edition or something like that. And but yeah, he had one of those giant lines like that when I went up and I said, "Hey, let me know when you want to talk." And he thought about it really fast and realized I better do it now. So he just told everybody, "I'm sorry, I'm going to come back in about 40 minutes." All these people standing in line, and then they all look at me like, "Who the hell?"
Right.
And oh, it's Parker. We'll remember this. And
I'll take it out of your Thunderbolts run.
yeah, and then we went outside, and he was telling me his initial ideas, and he was talking about kind of glimpses and images that were coming to him that weren't yet a story, like the whole thing with the crashed Phantom Cruiser in the jungle of the Everglades and everything. And I realized, like, oh, he does the same way I do, where I just get things that don't quite make sense yet, but I know it's a good moment.
Yeah.
And I try to keep it in as I plan the story.
I love that.
And then it's like, and then on my flight back to Oregon, I was just working the whole time on the idea, and then sent it to him or whatever, and we were off to the races. And he helped make the whole pitch for the Hanna-Barbera division of Warner to look at.
Yeah. When it comes to Zootopia, do you? I know this book also drops in January. Do we have a special official date on that release?
I'm always the one who doesn't know. Like,
that's fair.
I'm always finding out the week of the what, and then everybody's expecting me to say something like, I didn't know. No one told me,
Yeah. Well,
I think though they'll tell me on this one. I'm pretty sure I'll be really kept in the loop.
Yeah, I know it does drop in January. So if you want to check it out, folks, it drops in January of 2025. So if you want to pre-order it, make sure to let your comic book store know. Probably by December, at the very latest. Hey.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure like early December, you're going to have to let them know.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You don't want to miss it. It's like, I mean, it's super fun. All the issues kind of stand alone, but as you'll see, they all build to something too.
Oh, cool.
Of the first arc.
Right, of course. And any whole original characters that you added to this universe?
Yeah. If I say them, it'll immediately spoil, because there's always a mystery, and you've got to like kind of. So hell, look out for this character. Because,
totally.
Yeah.
All right. Well, but December 5th, by the way, is FOC. So that's from the.
But you get to see, like, now this time, Judy is trusted to go. Well, she still steps out farther than Bogo probably wants, but more trusted to go check out things, case places, do traditional police work, and of course, Nick is still bringing all his street grifter smarts to the operation, while doing things above board. So that's fun.
Sure, that's great. Well, Jeff, I want to thank you so much for coming by and talking Zootopia and Future Quest. I appreciate that as well. But I'd love to have you back on. We'll talk more at length about all kinds of books under your masthead. But thank you so much for coming by.
Let me know. We can come back after it comes out, and then we can actually dissect an issue or something.
True. Yeah, that'd be great. I'd love it, man. But anything else coming out that you want to make sure that everybody's aware of?
Yes. I believe this week, this is the one time I know something. There is a trade compiling last year's Silent Night Batman Claws series that we did.
Nice.
And immediately after that, I think, or just like the last week of this month, issue 1 will drop of Silent Night Returns, which is 5 issues this time. It's a weekly miniseries. So nice. Lucas Kettner's drawing it and Michele Bandini, and we go in even deeper on the whole concept of Santa and the Justice League. So I think if you want a Christmas-based story with a lot of butt kicking, that's probably going to be your best bet.
Yep, that's a pre-order for me. I'm checking that out. Thanks, man.
Nice. Thank
Well,
you.
thank you for coming by, Jeff, and we'll see you guys. We'll see you next time when the book's out.
All right. Thanks so much.
Of course, my pleasure. Take care, man. And there you have it. That was our second special guest of the day. Third if you count Tiffany, but she's really regular, so I think that's fair.
Special guest.
Yeah. So yeah, I think. Is there any? Do you have any final thoughts about AVA? You want to talk about?
Yeah.
All right. X-Force 5.
Oh, you're just gonna tell me what I'm doing next?
Yeah.
Because I've got Plastic Man No More. Too.
Oh, fine. All right. Plastic Man then.
Plastic Man No More #3 came out last week.
How many more of this are there? I think that's it.
It's one more. I think.
One more. All right.
It's written by Chris Cantwell with art by Alex Lins. Don't tell me you're not even reading this. You don't know that this book's over.
No,
or
it's
not.
true.
Here's a book that makes me go.
What?
Do I care? Like is Plastic Man do I hate him, or is he like a tragic individual? Like, is he just so human?
Yeah.
That I'm like don't want to read about him because I'm like, stop, man. Stop. Stop.
That's so funny because that is so antithetical to every Plastic Man pitch I've heard. Like everybody I know who ever wants to do a Plastic Man is like, I want to get back to his roots and I want to do it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be really joyful and exuberant. I want to get back to
this is
like, all right, we got one Plastic Man pitch.
He's just screwing up left and right, but I think it's coming from a good place, but also maybe not. Maybe it's coming from a completely self-serving survival place. Because obviously he's destabilizing and he's concerned that his son will also have this problem in the future, so he's gonna figure it out. But the way he's gonna figure it out is by kind of going back to his roots as a villain. And it's I'm like, is it to actually help your kid or is it not to act I don't know.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I get this.
That's like a real person.
It's like a real person where he's just screwing up. He'll do something and I'm like, don't do that.
Right.
Don't do that.
But I also understand why he did that.
I do. And that's why I'm like, I don't.
Yeah. I want someone to have that kind of patience when I screw up, but I can't imagine myself screwing up like Plastic Man.
Yeah. I mean, I'm enjoying this series, but I'm also
yeah.
The Justice League in this are,
jerks.
They're just full of themselves and
the Just Us League.
Yeah, it's very much kind of like that. Except for Bobo, who's Detective Chimp is what's up, man?
Right.
Plastic.
Hey, you and me are second stringers.
No, it's not. It is not like that at all. Plastic. The Justice League sitting at the table having lunch is as follows. It's Flash and Aquaman and Green Lantern John Stewart and Black Canary and Superman's there and Batman is there and also Detective Chimp. And I'm like,
yeah. What's he there for? Batman vouched for him. He's like, Bobo and I have a thing going on. We're trying to. We have a cold case we're working on.
It's fine. Don't worry about it. But Plastic Man comes back from the last mission where he basically killed all the metal men.
Yes.
And he's like, yeah, they all died. It was
a horrible accident, tragic accident.
It was my fault.
Yeah.
And Bobo's like,
wasn't your fault?
Really?
Why would you lead with that? Why would you start with, it's in Birdemic when whatever her name is dies.
Yeah. Well, he says
I didn't do anything. She died.
Plastic Man uses something he says we, and Detective's like, we, who's we? I thought you were the only one to survive. Who's we?
Right.
But regardless, the rest of the group, he's like, I'm the one who's melting. I'm dying over here. None of you care. And they're all like, whatever. And they just go about their business. And that's where we see this very animation, simplistic, cheery looking art that will melt away and become here's the reality of the situation.
Cool. All right.
Which it has been throughout. Anytime he's doing with the Justice League, it's this style. When it's the reality of things, it is this style.
I like that.
And it's really well done. It's really well executed. Obviously they have Uranium of the Metal Men. He was actually the one that they wanted. This is the styling that I was talking about. This is the Justice League style. You can see that there. And Uranium calls into question this whole plan. And the fact that the people involved with the plan are probably not qualified to be part of the plan. He's like, listen, I have no love for the Metal Men. So whatever, you killed them. That's absolutely fine.
Yeah.
There's a page later on we can show them.
Okay.
Trust me.
That's the more grounded reality.
Well, no, it's really fantastic, right? Because you know, they're like, you're going to need a more intense scientist for this one. Trust me on this one. And so like Plastic Man's like, got it. I know who to get. And he goes off to do that. Meanwhile, Detective Chimp's like, I need to go to the factory where this all went down.
Yeah.
And I'm going to launch an investigation. And he does. And I'm like, oh no. Like, look at that.
Oh,
Doesn't that look great?
yeah.
Yeah, it's really hard to get.
Yeah, thanks,
In
Comics.
this.
I mean,
It's,
Kindle. But yeah,
But like, you can see what I'm talking about
that's
here.
awesome.
So, you know, also don't forget, I completely forgot about this. Plastic Man's hand is floating around. It's like killing rats and being Plastic
What?
Man. I don't know. It's a whole thing. Anyway, he teams up with his son. His son's like, you're a screw up, but whatever. But like, no, first he's like, I'm gonna help you, Dad. Like,
Yeah.
okay, cool, whatever. And then it turns out he was doing it all seemingly to help himself, but also not. Like, this is where I'm like, what are you doing, Plastic Man?
Yeah.
And then you know, I hope you weren't expecting Detective Chimp to make it out of this.
Oh.
But anyway, we got more to go with this one. This is a dark book. This is
Yeah.
a dark book. And it's probably not what you were expecting whatsoever.
Hell no. I think
From
most
Plastic
Plastic
Man.
Man fans,
We're
Plastic
probably,
fans,
probably,
are
we're
not.
probably not like, oh, that's what I'm gonna get out of this. No, but I'm into it, right?
Yeah.
Because it's like, you know, people in the book. By the way, the scientist he gets, yeah, you figure it out.
Mhm.
It's someone that you saw earlier in the book, but they accuse him of using his humor as a deflection, that type of thing. So it's interesting, you know, like he wants to be taken seriously, but he also wants to be this hero, but also like he's not one of them.
Yeah.
You know, at times he's like putting on airs. We get a little
Mhm.
bit into his home life, so it's been a very interesting run, and I do wonder how folks feel about this take on him.
I'm sure most people don't know because they're not reading.
Right, but it is all right, but it is a Black Label book, so it's like, what did you
It's gonna be
expect?
dark.
What did you expect?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
Interesting. Yeah. Well, I read Batman 154. This is
Oh.
from Chip Zdarsky and Steve Orlando and
it's a
Carmine
really
DiGomenico.
fun cover.
Yeah, it is. It like is a good way of like indicating like what's happening in this.
I
in this
actually, I
book.
mean, like the background is neat. I actually just really like the front
Oh, I mean,
section.
it's Bruce and Gordon,
It's just good shadows. It's
Yeah.
they're detecting.
right? So yeah, things are just sliding back into place. Just waiting for it all to wrap up. Nakano's dead. Bullock is back on the force. Vandal Savage is commissioner, and now the person in charge of being
Wait, what did you say? Who's commissioner?
Vandal Savage.
Vandal
Yeah,
Savage
yeah,
is commissioner.
that's right.
Why?
Well, because he was appointed commissioner during a previous arc by
But-
more villains.
But did like, is this like a lifelong dream for Vandal Savage?
no, he's just he's got machinations.
Oh,
He lives
okay.
in Wayne Manor.
That somehow revolve around being the commissioner.
Yeah, that's right. It's
Oh, okay.
just like, look, we need a character that A, no one's going to use, B,
Sure.
no one's going to miss, and C,
It just
that
seems,
has to remove himself so that Commissioner Gordon can be in charge. again.
It just seems
Like-
suspect.
Yeah,
Sus.
well, whatever. So, and there's also like a brighter anti-Batman character that's showing up who's like, haha, like I've seen that trope of like
you mean
a
Superman?
yeah, no, like this is a character who's like, I'm a good Batman. Like it's just, yeah, it's not, and not even like Gotham Girl and I guess Gotham, was that his name? God. Anyway, this is we were watching like Nigma's involved, and there's an implication that there was a big reveal in the previous issue where it was like Bruce's brother is back. Well, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah, it actually makes sense because Zdarsky spent a lot of time throughout his run referring to or paying off Scott Snyder's run. So I'm like, Owlman
Yes.
from the Court of Owls. Perfect. The Court of Owls are back. They're involved in this as well.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Mhm.
No, there's another brother or a different brother who
There's another freaking
Secret Wayne. And this one is from a affair partner that Thomas had. So media literacy is so important, people. Like not just media literacy, but like literacy in general, since it turns out like most Americans can't read. But like when they revealed in this serialized, fictitious, fake story, comic book story, that Thomas Wayne cheated on his wife and had an illegitimate child, and Leslie Tompkins is the character who brought it up. The comment sections throughout are like, you've character assassinated Thomas Wayne, and I'm like, none of that happened. Like why do you believe? Like why do you immediately believe things like this? Like why do you take things at face value like that? But then like when I act a little bit hyperbolic, I'm an idiot. Like I just don't understand. But like anyway, it's just it's a lot of like it's cleaning house by way of a story arc, which I've criticized before, but it's trim and it's not gross. But like, oh no, maybe Thomas Wayne philandered. Who cares? But also maybe, but probably not. But like that's what the reveals are, and eventually they're going to reveal that either he did and Martha forgave him, which is what they say in the book, or he didn't and the guy is a clayface or something. Like who knows? All I know is it was weird that he didn't use the guy from he didn't use Lincoln March. Like what are you doing? It's all right there. Like, the audience was like, oh boy, Lincoln March is back. That sounds fun. Good use of that character. No, different character. Anyway, not important. None of this is really
they're
happening.
Basically like the Summers brothers now.
Oh my God. There's always going to be another Wayne. He's just coming out of the woodwork.
Thomas Wayne is the Corsair of the DC universe.
Yeah. Somebody asked if Chip added another brother in Daredevil. Chip did not invent Mike Murdock. Matt Murdock invented him as a alternate. Okay.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Chip did not invent him. Chip one more dayed him into existence, but Mike Murdock existed already.
Yeah.
That's it.
He just likes a brother.
He just loves. He's just a lonely man who needs a brother.
He just wishes. Does he have siblings?
I honestly don't know. I don't even know his real name. No, I'm kidding. But this is fun and it's Batman-y, and like there's also the last page reveal. This was like the Gordon's compromised, and so it's like, yeah, no, that's not gonna be. They're gonna fix that.
Gordon's compromised.
Yeah,
no.
But actually, it's kind of a funny sequence because like Batman and Gordon are like sneaking around and they're like coming to because someone killed Nakano. We need to know who killed the mayor.
Yeah.
And the implication is that Gordon is the one who actually did it.
Yeah.
And so like when Batman is talking to, I think, Bullock over the communicator, Gordon like points his pistol at Batman. But rather than end it there, Batman is like, Jim, you dare point a gun at me, and then punches his glasses off. And I'm like, I buy it.
Okay, now hold on, Batman. Just because you have a lot of money, glasses are expensive, man.
I'll buy you a new pair. It's worth it to me to punch them off your face. How dare you?
I'm just saying.
Yeah. Nick mentions in the comments that Matt was an only child. That is true. He was an only child. And then Matt invented a pseudonym called Mike Murdock. But then through magic, Mike became real. And then using the Norn Stones, Mike retconned himself into always having been Matt's twin brother. So according to continuity, Mike has always been Matt's twin brother, even though we all know that he wasn't. Just like Peter Parker never was married, even though we all know he was. It's that. So the book is called One More Day. Anyway, the Daredevil book. But I love the idea of Batman being like, you know who I am. You know my identity. Like, how dare you point a gun at me? Like, I don't care. This theatrical like, you're supposed to be my oldest and greatest friend. If you pointed a gun at me, I'm going to kick your ass. But it's just this cute moment where like Gordon is just sad and Batman's sad. And it's these two men sitting on the ground over this like crime scene, just like just being sad. I'm like, that's pretty cool.
One of the things that Sal wants to see: two dudes just being sad.
Two grown men being sad.
All right.
I don't know.
Hey,
I was like, this is fine. I'm just reading it. I'm like, yeah, okay.
All right.
I'm like,
I bet it looks great too.
Yeah, it does. Oh no, it does.
Are we gonna do X-Force?
Yeah, we gotta do X-Force.
X-Force number 5 came out this week, written by Jeff Thor with art by Marcus Toe.
X-Force.
What?
I don't know.
Okay. This issue, X-Force dies.
What? It looks like they're dying on this cover.
Yeah, but they don't. They're fine.
I'm sorry, I missed it. I did catch up to like issue 3, but I need to read issue 4.
What the?
No, wait, I read
heck?
issue 4 with the new Avengers that showed up.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
then
no, I
this
read
one we
that.
get to learn more about them. You
And I
didn't
didn't get
read
a chance
this one though.
No, I missed it. I'm sorry.
What's happening to you?
I was coordinating interviews and other
That's
things.
very fair.
I'm busy.
That's very fair. Yeah, like Thorne takes us through a little bit of an intro for these characters, but without like,
because they did exist.
but like without beating you over the head, you get a lot about their world just simply through some of their own dialogue, and I really appreciate it. Like I'm just
Wow.
like, cool.
it's like he's a professional or something.
I know, right? But yeah, we get to. They're all not who you think they are, right? Like
Right.
that's not Storm, that's Tempest, and I was like, I love that.
Oh, you got me.
I love that.
Yeah.
You know, instead of it being Black Panther or White Panther, that's Fenris. Which I dig because that is a Norse god.
Right.
Or Norse like
Entity.
right?
Yeah.
I was like, that's really neat. And so like instead of Thor, we have like Osiris. You know what I mean? Like I'm like, all right,
Yeah.
yes.
Cool.
Yes.
Here for it.
Here for it. Like meeting these folks.
Yeah.
But yeah, they do the thing that happens when you meet each other.
They fight.
You fight.
Mhm.
But they have a good reason to fight because much like what's happening here, it's happening in their world. So they think it's they're the problem. And it's like, well, hold on.
Yeah.
But in Betsy and Rachel like peek into their minds and they're having a hard time finding anything. But the one thing they find out is in their world, the Phoenix showed up and it was like it's a very like godly moment for them. And so Rachel's like,
Oh,
"Got
then
it.
I'll do that."
I'll just be like, ta-da, I'm the Phoenix. And they're all like,
Oh, okay.
okay, cool.
Sorry.
Can we talk now? And they're like, yes.
Please.
Yes, we can. Forge has like a minute with like Tempest
Mhm.
where like, you know, she knows him as Forge and he's like Storm. But you know, he gets the like better of her and then you know, like has a minute where you're like, is he gonna kill her because she might be a problem essentially?
Oh, right. Like, did the ball tell him?
Right. Like, well, she's from another world. So he's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And Surge is like, you're gonna kill her too? And he's like,
Okay, everybody.
all right, fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Maybe Forge has gone too far here. But Nucleus shows back up. They mentioned in their world that it killed the Guardian, and they realize that like, you know, the Guardian is Man Thing, and you know, Man Things are reconstituting themselves. They're like, that probably means that Nucleus coming back.
Right.
Oh, yep.
Oh,
Look at that.
Nucleo.
Nucleus coming back. He's been like trying to activate power points. He's got 2 of the 3 that he needs. He needs to make a triangle. I like that. Triangles are a historic, like, you know,
Yes.
3, like the power of 3 just in
They're
general.
the most structurally sound.
Yeah,
shape.
yeah. Sacred geometry, just magic in general. The Triforce. Oh, sorry, I flicked the thing at you.
That's okay.
I have like a real issue with playing with those, and then I'm like, ba-doom.
Yep.
And
And then you wonder where your hair ties are.
always.
You're like, why don't I have any more? I'm like, I don't know. Maybe
Where
stop
could
firing
they
them
have
at me.
gone? The Avengers assemble all together along with X-Force and head off in order to battle so that like the like main group of like Sage, Tempest, I think it's War Machine,
Mhm.
Surge and Forge can all head off and see if they can't close or like stop Nucleus, right?
Right, I don't know.
Tempest and War Machine like fly in only to be destroyed. It's really sad because everyone's
Yeah, no,
watching
it's-
it. They're like,
Like, whoa, oh,
oh,
that doesn't
no.
normally happen. What is this, a what if book or something? Oh no.
And that's when like the moment that like Surge realizes she's like, this is why I'm here, isn't it? Like this is what I'm supposed to do, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Like she didn't want to hurt Nucleus, and
Yeah.
like she thought there was a better way to save everybody. But the fact is, it's like if they don't stop this here,
Yeah.
the portals will remain open forever, and like monsters will constantly be pouring out, and like people are gonna get hurt. And so
Yeah.
like what she does is she absorbs like the energy from Forge's weapon and then redirects it into Nucleus, destroying Nucleus and frying her.
Yeah.
And it's like really, really sad.
Oh.
Right. And that's when like Forge is like, you know, Sage was like, did you know this was gonna happen? And
Yeah.
he's like, that's not how my powers work. It's like that's not what I do.
Yeah.
You know, she made the choice. It's all her. And like Sage is like, you like why you could have built a machine because she kept saying that. She's
Yeah.
like, just build a machine. He's like, I don't have the time or the materials. Like
Right,
this
but,
is
like,
it. And he's like, and I
One
did.
Krakoa you did.
He's like, I built X-Force and it did what it was supposed to do. And so she's like, well, I quit.
Fair enough.
And I'm like, okay, I
Yeah.
am like so invested in this book. Like
Yeah.
Thorne's just really putting together like the story that's like not only dramatic and like dealing with things that could be world ending, but without being like, oh God, like it's like we're just
Or also like we've heard it all before, you know, like, oh no, the world's ending. Well, I guess it doesn't blow. I bet it doesn't blow up.
yeah, and like, but that's what this book is supposed to be them preventing these like instances, but like with something else happening. Like,
Yeah.
why is it happening? We
Yeah.
got to figure out that. And then obviously the trust issues within the
course.
team. I mean, Sage has been on a number of winning teams as well.
Yeah.
Where people have
Sage's been
betrayed,
through a lot.
you know, Beast betrayed them, Colossus betrayed them. Now she's like Ford. She's like,
Yeah. Well, it's like you know who you're working with. I mean,
right, but like, you know, you hope that
right, that they're
You-
going to show their better nature.
yeah, and like a lot of the rest of your team is pretty tight, you know.
That's true. Yeah.
But Thorne's just really putting together a really like solid story, and I hope people aren't sleeping on this book because maybe it's not like the most recognizable characters are taking like, you know, ridiculously huge unnecessary swings. It's taking the swings it needs to take.
Yeah.
And I do think that the stakes are high, and like there is like a certain human element. I know we're talking about a book about mutants, but there is a certain human element to the dynamic among the team
Yeah.
that I'm really here for. Like I really like the fact that like Forge is like, no, but I'm doing the thing that is right.
Yeah.
And it's okay for me to be the bad guy, which is making him start to sound a little bit like Beast,
Right.
right? Which
But I'm not Beast.
but I'm not Beast, right? Like I really do think I'm doing the right thing
Yeah.
here, and like we are heroes, and so sometimes that's going to put us in a position where like
It's
we're
going to be
ha-
uncomfortable
it's-
or
we're gonna come-
unpopular.
or someone's going to die, and like that's going to happen.
Yeah.
And Sage is like, I am so over that.
Right.
So like I like it. Like I've really gotten to know Sage through, you know, the Krakoa era.
Yes.
And yeah, I
And
am
just carrying it over. In a
I am
really
very much looking
successful
forward to
way.
what comes next because like
Yeah.
the magical elements of all of it, I'm very excited for.
Totally.
And I think Marcus Toe is like destroying this book. I think
yeah.
he's doing such a great job. Everything looks great. The action sequences are phenomenal.
Yes.
And I really enjoy like meeting these new characters.
Right. And that's fun. I'm glad.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we'll put it this way. Like, this is a great book. I forgot that X-Men came out this week, but this is the X book we talk about.
Right.
now.
Did we just go live with another video?
It's going to be.
Oh, okay.
You know.
No, it's a secret other video.
Yes, there's
It'll be there in a
another
minute.
video coming out after this.
Yes.
At 8:00 we're doing or after 8 we're gonna do like a stream.
Yes.
So keep that in mind. Yeah.
I think we got one more
Superman.
big one. Let's do it.
Absolute Superman #1. Woo! Jason Aaron and Rafa Sandoval give us Absolute Superman, the final corner of this trinity. What'd you think?
This was my least favorite out of the three.
Out of the three.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
I really enjoyed it. I didn't think it was weak.
I didn't think
it was a weak link. I thought it was just kind of like,
I
Oh.
didn't necessarily either. I was just more obviously. Listen, here's the thing. I feel like I have to take Wonder Woman right out of the mix because Wonder Woman was written like as though it was something I like had dreamed myself.
yeah.
So it's like I just can't. But like this was like my least favorite.
Yeah.
And there were just moments where it's like I have read plenty of really great Jason Aaron dialogue, and
Sure.
there were some really clunkers in this
Oh.
one for me.
There was very much a there was a real Midwest moment in this book.
Which one?
Are
Are you talking about when like on Krypton?
Yeah,
with the fixing of the
where basically someone from Kansas would definitely have said that, where he's like, there are a lot of like liberal elites on the East Coast who have a lot of like ideas about how the world works, but here in the sand and the soil, like they don't know how and I was like, well, from Jersey you can bite me. Like I was like I'm feeling a real like Midwest anti-East Coast establishment, like educated elites kind of response. And I was like, I appreciate your perspective.
right.
And that's where it ends.
Yeah. It was just like there were times that I felt like we spent too long establishing certain things where it's like I got it.
Yeah.
Like there's a conversation between Laurel and the guy she's fixing, like the farmer.
Mm-hmm.
And I like as we're going along, I'm like, this is not Jor-El.
I know that's not Jor-El. Yeah.
And like I appreciate that I'm getting to know her and where she stands, but like it just kept going on to the point where I was like, is this a main character?
Right.
Should I care about this guy?
Right,
and it's
yeah.
like, no. And like I am all for
Yeah.
like taking account of the space.
Yes.
Like living in it, enjoying it, looking around. Like,
Yeah.
oh, what's that? But for me, even like that, I was like, okay.
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Cool.
I liked the establishment of Krypton. Like I liked what they were like, where they talk about their emblems and their crests and where the S comes from and all that stuff. I'm like,
Yeah.
this is all.
No,
like, I'm really glad that Aaron had like a lot of space to play with this concept.
Yep.
The implication of what happened to the Kents was really interesting
Sure.
and surprising. Superman and his execution was like fine. We're so close to New 52 and Morrison's Action Comics. It was 10 years ago,
Yeah.
but I still feel it, where it's like, oh, it's a young Superman who's going to save the working man. And he's going to stick it to the corporate overlord. And I'm like, I get it. And I'm down,
Mm-hmm.
but also like I saw it already. And like, I appreciate you setting it in like another country where like that can happen.
Right.
And I really like the use of Peacemaker. Or the Peacemaker iconography and being like, I'm gonna make a reference to, like, I'm gonna have a Judge Dredd thing in here too. I'm like, all right, that's fun too.
Right.
Like this is a neat concept. But it's not fully cooked.
Yeah. I mean, like, obviously, like, we have gifted, like, because of the fact that like there is something like of the iconography of Superman that includes him being raised by farmers to some degree.
Yes.
Which means that this Cal has to be older before he leaves.
Oh no, and
Krypton.
we see that. Like,
yeah,
exactly.
Absolutely.
That's like, oh, that's kind of a neat concept.
It is a neat concept. However, it's funny because it's like there is such a part of like my brain that registers him with farm.
Yes.
And for him to have had it for such a small amount of time, I struggle with it a little bit. Now, obviously, we're going to learn a little bit more as we go along. What the suit's all about, why it's talking to him, like who created it, like all of that, right? We're gonna get there, right? And like the fact that his folks obviously were fighting for the right side of things and like cared about like the fact that they were robbing Krypton of its like
of its natural resources.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm down.
And that like his mom clearly thought that they weren't going far enough, or that like, oh, we should take a look at this, science. Absolutely, right?
Yeah.
And like I try to take it less like it's like a like Midwest versus East Coast.
No, it was only in that one weird section.
Yeah.
And I know you're supposed to be like, and I know that the Kryptonians are like a cautionary tale.
Yes.
And I know that Aaron's from Kansas, or at least from the Midwest, and so I'm like, I can't help but like, especially because it really had like these kind of talking points where I was like, I can't extricate myself from like your real world example that you're clearly using here. But it was only in that one like moment. And it was like, I could see that this whole book could be about that.
Yeah.
This like, don't trust the experts concept. And I was like, that's not what I'm here for.
Right.
But also it was only that one moment. And I'm like, I think it's just kind of like a thing he wanted to put in there as like a thing.
Yeah.
Like as like as an island.
Yes.
And then the rest of it will be about this kind of like freedom fighter. But like, again, it's just, it's the brownies look pretty good until you take them out of the oven. And then you're like, oh, the damn thing isn't finished in the middle. Like that's what this book is, unfinished brownies.
I don't know if it's that. I don't listen. I didn't think it was like bad.
No, it's just not fully formed. It just needed another pass.
It felt like maybe a little tightening here and there.
Yeah,
like maybe
the art's fantastic.
tightening.
Sandoval doesn't need any help. He's crushing it. Book looks great. Krypton, Earth, the Peacemakers, Lazarus. I'm down. It all looks great. Fantastic.
Yes.
Keep going. Every piece of promotional material for this is great. And I like the idea that Aaron is presenting. But again, that's a pitch, not a book. The book I read was underdeveloped or overdeveloped.
Yeah.
Like, there were a lot of ideas and they didn't all solidify.
I think they will. Like, I think they absolutely will get there. It's just in the first issue, they did toss a lot out us.
Yeah.
I mean, like, which is funny because like in Absolute Wonder Woman, they did as well, but it was mostly about her past.
Yes.
Like we had a fight going on in the future, but the fight was, or in the present, but the fight was just really to be like, this is where she is right now. Look at how cool she is. Let's talk about where she came from. This is like, let's do that, but also establish a lot of things that are going on right now. It was a lot.
Yeah.
And it feels like we talk about decompression. This was not decompression.
No.
This was like the opposite of that.
Yeah.
And like maybe to its detriment a little bit.
Yeah, I think so.
But again, it's not a bad book. It's just if I had to like read all three of them, like for me, like
this is the third.
This is my third. This is the third
for
for
third
me.
best.
Yeah, but that's for me. But again, I recognize that Absolute Wonder Woman is
absolutely for you.
Is absolutely coded for my brain.
Yeah, and I really responded to Absolute Batman. Like,
Yes.
oh no, the most iconic and representative superhero, like the most identifiable superhero in the universe is the one that's out. Like, oh,
yeah,
but also I really really liked the pitch and the execution. But I also think they should have cut off that Joker stuff. Like, just save that for issue 3.
1,000%.
But everything else,
necessary.
I'm ready for you.
Yeah.
This issue again, experts are making this book. Like, you could see on display, experts are making this book. This book is good, or at least everyone who's doing this is doing their job.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe editorial, maybe just editing. The book needed tightening. It's not fully done.
Yep.
Or it has too many ideas and people got too excited.
I think that really what it is. There's just a lot going on.
Yeah. So that's Absolute Superman. What is the book of the week?
I don't know.
I mean, obviously, besides Green Arrow Annual 2024, I mean, like, easily, if you're going to put the Bloodlines in there, it's going to be the number 1 book of the week. However,
right.
But I think, there could be an argument could be made where I feel, even though like that, this is the testament to how good a comic book can be. And I'm not necessarily talking to you. I'm vamping, but this is a testament to how comics can be good even when they do things I don't agree with. I think it's got to go to Aliens versus Avengers number 2. I think that because it does such a Herculean effort of presenting me with Prometheus stuff and also shows me an sympathetic Avengers and also makes things really tragic and bleak, but also just successfully pulls off the premise. It's like if this was Avengers and it was just like Hickman's doing like a future book, it would be bleak and weird for no good reason. It's Aliens. It has to be nihilistic.
Yeah. Absolutely. I think my book of the week is probably X-Force.
That's
5.
fair. X-Force deserves it.
I think it's been just a really consistent book, and it's occasionally like something else has come up where I'm just like, but like I got to give it to it this week.
Yeah.
It's been really good. 5 issues into it, and I'm as excited about it as I was in the beginning.
Yeah.
So I think that team's doing a really great job, and I'm looking forward to what comes next.
I agree with you.
Sorry, I had food ordered, but they wouldn't leave it.
Did they?
Yeah, they did. I was like, just leave it.
Good. Now, we're going to jump into the super chats. Before we do, I want to mention that this show is going to end, and then a new show is going to launch. There's a new video right now. It's up on this channel, youtube.com/ComicPop Returns, which is going to be a live auction of comics that you can check out. I'll be there to like kind of vamp and chat while you can bid on / check out some really cool
trying
comics.
something different.
We're trying something out.
I like this.
Yeah,
good for us.
We're just trying things.
We're trying things.
I don't want to say. I don't want to be a guy. I want to be a yes, or a why not kind of guy.
Right.
MMM says, "Happy early Thanksgiving, Comic Pop. AVA 2 made me realize that a Hickman written version of Prometheus could be so much better than the actual movie. These concepts seem right up his alley." I think I agree with you, but I don't think that Prometheus necessarily. I mean, the scientists are stupid for no good reason, but like, yeah, okay. No, I agree. If you just give the Prometheus, like, Ridley Scott, if you want to direct them, fine, but have Hickman write them. That way it will look great and make sense instead of it just being kind of stupid.
Right.
Arduit says, ComicPop Woo, Absolute Superman was really, really good. Also managed to pick up all 12 of Tom King's Mr. Miracle with variant covers for like $40. Much love. Well, thank you very much, man.
Very nice,
I
very
also,
nice.
I mean, those are great. It's a great series. Hugzilla, happy Monday to you all. I'm inexplicably excited for the new back issues just because Swarm is mentioned. Can't wait for what's in store. Swarm only comes up in that tangent, which dropped today on youtube.com/ComicPop. Outside of that, there's no Swarm talk. Swarm does not appear in the book we talk about this week.
Yeah.
Lex Luthor Vandross, just saying hi and supporting my favorite creators. So thank you very much.
Well, thank you.
And what a clever name. Well done, sir.
Thank you.
Denial. You may be right about Marvel not allowing Peter to do anything important. I read Avengers X Ultraman, and Peter does nothing in it while Miles works with the Ultraman characters and gets prominently featured on all the covers. Hard to believe. Also, Kevin Feige was said recently that he said after Miles's animated film series ends, he can't wait to add him to the MCU, which also, that for me says more about the plans and the like Sony deal than it does about like, well, it says a lot about that, where I'm like, he wouldn't say that unless there was a plan. Like, unless there was like long-term plans with Sony. He wouldn't be like, well, Sony, you never know. Like, he was like, no, I can't wait to put him in the MCU. I'm ready to go. I'm like, oh yeah? Because that ain't your call. Unless it is. Chocobo Kid, congrats, award winner and popular writer duo of comic reviews. Thank you very much.
Wow,
That's right.
thank you.
Award-winning co-author Tiffany. Thank
Co-host.
you. Co-host. Dylan Hall, has Sal read the 2016 Bloodline series from J.T. Krull and V. Ken Marion?
Well, have you?
I looked at it and was like, that has nothing to do with Bloodlines. It was just it was just use the name and that's it. Nothing to do with it. Michael Dickens, what are your current thoughts on the DCU with James Gunn? I haven't seen anything that takes place in it, so I can't speak to it. I do know that James Gunn says the trailer is done for Superman and it's on his hard drive. So that'll
it's
drop.
on his hard drive. Don't tell him that. They'll come for you.
Yeah.
They'll come for your
That's
hard
coming
drive.
soon. We'll be talking about that. Bryce Harriet, hi Sal and Tiffany. Why are you so good at interviews?
I'm not.
I think she is great at them. I wish
no.
she would do more of them. They're great, and you should check them out. They're all on this channel. You talk to the entire creative team of Hunger in the Dusk. You talk to G. Wilson.
You know what it is? You have like a very natural way about you. I get very like, okay, here are the questions.
Yeah,
and
because
now
you're more organized than I am. That's fine.
I
it's
like
a very different style.
I like your style.
Michael Dickens, been watching since 2019, 14 at the time. Now in employment,
Hey!
I will never forget the positive enforcement your channel had on my life during COVID. Well, thank you, Michael. I'm glad you could, get that from us. And congratulations on adulthood.
Yeah, on your employment.
Exactly.
That's exciting and
I agree.
awesome. And thank you for sharing that.
Seriously. Cornet Chris, hi Sound Tiff, just wanted to drop a super chat for support. I tend to watch the VOD on the background as Tuesday morning routine. So we'll see you then. Thanks, Cornet Chris, and enjoy your commute. Dan V900, I like Absolute Superman, but it's by far my least favorite of the three. Tony Superman himself gave off Superman Earth 1 vibes to me. Don't love it. I'm not as emotionally invested. Something was missing. Absolutely, I think something was missing, but I think that, like, look, Aaron has plans. He's in it for the long haul. You trust him, but I understand the trepidation because of this unfully formed first issue.
Yeah. Yeah, but other folks said that, like, I was reading some of the chat and they were saying like they loved it.
Yeah.
They were way into it.
True.
So I don't know. I think there's like a lot of maybe.
Yeah, no, it's true. Let's jump into the recommendations for books that are coming out this week that we think you should check out.
Oh, I see what this is.
What is it?
This is like a cover book. This is all about covers.
Cool.
This right here. I'm just showing you this. Batman Uncovered. It's just covers.
All right.
But if you like that, if you're like way into covers,
no, I mean, that's a smart move.
Maybe you're into that. Like maybe that's something you want.
Yeah, I agree.
You got Jim Lee in there and David Finch and all of that.
Oh yeah.
Ultimate X-Men is coming out again.
Again? Well, you know what it is.
I feel like
it's the manga. She's finished. She finished this friggin' whole series.
I feel like this just came out.
Yeah, it did. No, she's done.
Which I'm thrilled about.
This book is over. She
Ultimate X-Men number 9 by Peach Momoko. Let's go.
Yeah. Let's go, Mako.
What?
You were almost there.
I was not going to say that.
Well, I did.
Well, great. You know what else is coming out? Helen of Windhorn.
Helen of Windhorn,
number
I've heard of this book.
6. Written by Tom King with art by Bill Key or Bill Kiss Evely.
It's over. This is it. Final issue.
No.
It's over. No more.
No.
I know. I'm sorry.
Boo.
Don't close it because you have it up on the screen there.
Boo. I didn't. Well, if I did, it would have just gone there.
All right.
You know what else is coming out?
No.
This week? Do you know?
I do.
Do you know what's coming out this week?
Uh-huh.
I'm definitely going to be picking up. Terminator number 2 is coming out this week. Written by Sal Crivelli and Declan Shalvey. With art by Luke Sparrow and Colin Craker.
That's right.
Yeah, that's right. I can't actually see the credits. I just remembered all of that.
Well, we've been talking about it for a while.
This book is really important.
Yeah.
This is the second issue of the new Dynamite Terminator run. Main book written by Shalvey. The backup, you're getting 2 pages each issue, so that you're getting the next 2 pages of Sal's story in this one. So this will be pages 3 and 4.
Yep.
Super excited. Got to grab that, everybody. You got to go over there. Go pick it up.
That's right.
You're going to love it. I'm
That's
going to
right.
get mine.
If
Look
you
at
want
this.
to-
Kaboom, kaboom, kaboom.
I know, right? If you want to make sure you get the whole 10 pages, just make sure you get the first 5 issues. So
Exactly.
tell your local comic book store
Do it up.
that you want the whole 5 issues.
For sure.
Absolutely, Batman number 2 is dropping. Hooray! I am enjoying the series, even though I've only read 1 issue.
Yep.
I have it on good authority that perhaps one of the writers or the writer of it might come on the show and talk about it afterwards. We'll see.
What?
We're gonna try Amazing Spider-Man again. This is Amazing Spider-Man 61 with Joe Kelly and Ed McGuinness. With
Oh, it's
8 Deaths of
over?
Spider-Man. Yep, it's over. Did I read Zeb Wells' run on Amazing Spider-Man? I read the last issue, and it's over. But yes, Jeff. Yeah.
I might have to read this.
No, Joe Kelly doing Spider-Man
Yeah.
with Doctor Doom, Sorcerer Supreme.
Am I reading Spider-Man?
You'll be reading the first issue at least. You'll probably think it's freaking stupid. We'll see. But yeah,
It's hard for me to say that because Joe Kelly wrote
Michael Giants.
one of my favorite comics of all time.
Yes, absolutely. I understand. I understand. I also read Nonstop Spider-Man, and I was like,
I cried at that man in person.
You did in person. Yeah.
Anyway.
Captain America 15. We're gonna see where this goes. It's silly, but I'm enjoying it. More importantly, Batman Dark Age number 6. Yay! This is a great series, and I love it. So I think you should definitely be reading this. I think it's the finale. So yay! It's over. I can't wait to read the rest of it.
Here's a book I completely forgot about that was coming out. Werewolf by Night. I apologize to the creative team there.
Yeah.
Definitely forgot.
Yeah, that's right. Jason Liu and Sergio Fernandez de Villa.
Yeah. Oops. It's on issue 4.
Yeah. Issue 4.
Which might be the last one. I don't know. Look at
Who
that.
knows?
Kind of a fun cover.
Yeah, a little bit of a romance novel there. I think that's it. At least as far as I'm concerned.
Well, there's Terminator number 2.
Well, Terminator 2.
I don't know if I mentioned that.
And oh god, I forgot. There's another. There's a Ninja Turtles Master of the Universe coming out.
And there's Terminator 2.
Yes, and Terminator 2. Terminator number 2.
No, yeah, Terminator number 2 is coming out.
Yeah, that's right. That's it.
Book of the week.
Book of the week. We'll see. No, I don't think so. But yeah, and Aaron A. Wait, did you say Helen Windhorn?
Helen of Windhorn.
That's right, Helen of Windhorn.
Have you heard of Helen of Windhorn?
I have, at the very least.
All right, we gotta sign off.
We gotta go. We want to thank you so much for hanging out. But listen, don't be a stranger. We'll see you guys next time with another episode here on youtube.com/ComicPop Returns. But listen, before you go, we should also mention that Tiffany streams on twitch.tv/ComicPop and youtube.com/ComicPop or at ComicPop Plays.
Yeah.
No, it's Twitch.
Oh, I thought you were doing the YouTube one.
Yeah,
first.
twitch.tv/ComicPop
Yes.
and youtube.com at ComicPop Plays. All links for everything that we do. We were in the description of every video we make. So if you go, wait, I remember the Tiffany streams on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. Where do I go? I don't remember. Just go to any video ComicPop puts out. Click that description that used to matter 5 years ago, but now doesn't. And then just look down there and you'll find a link to everything. You'll be like, oh my God, that's where. Yeah, where everybody is.
You can watch me and my friend be stuck in the Silent Hill 2 hospital forever.
That's right.
Cannot get out.
Nope.
Cannot get out.
Cannot get out. Are you doing Lord of the Rings?
No.
They are coming.
No, I wasn't, but it went that way.
Yeah. But so if you're watching this live, there's another live that's happening immediately after this. So we'll see you there. Otherwise, thank you for being here. Thank you, Tiffany, for hosting the show. And we'll see you guys next time with another episode. Like the video, subscribe to our channel, and thank you to our super chatters for sponsoring today's show. And thank you to our special guest Ed Brisson and Jeff Parker for coming by. Is it Jeff Parker? Did I say that wrong? No, it's Jeff Parker. Thank God.
I'm like, no, you said it right.
Good, right.
I'm gonna let you go though.
But thank you guys for being here, and we'll see you guys next time with another episode. So long, everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye.